Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to be testing out the new Tarte Tartelette Reflections eyeshadow palette. So this is a massive eyeshadow palette. This is 28 different shades and this is celebrating 25 years of Tarte, which is kind of fun. So this has a 12-month shelf life and is made in Taiwan. And what's interesting about that is this palette is their Amazonian clay formula, which is Tarte's best quality eyeshadow formula. They have another formula that's typically made in China and just doesn't seem to perform as well, but previously their Amazonian clay formula was made in the US. I noticed last year, I'm not sure if it started the year before, but last year with their Man-Eater Nightfall palette that they came out with for fall, that one was made in Taiwan as well, and the quality was fantastic. So this one is also made in Taiwan, so I have high hopes for that. I've always loved the Amazonian clay formula. I did review a face palette from Tarte earlier this year that had some eyeshadows in it. It had 2 cream blushes and a cream bronzer. That one was made in China, and I didn't love the eyeshadows in there. So just keep that in mind. I have high hopes for this. I think it's going to be pretty good because if it's the same formula that is in last year's Man-Eater palette, I'm gonna be happy. I never picked up the first Man-Eater, so I don't know if that one was also made in Taiwan. If you have that one, maybe let us know in the comments. But this is what the palette looks like. So it's intensely reflective packaging, which I think is really pretty, but I don't love for the purposes of filming and also just the purposes of fingerprints. It just looks really dirty really easily. But this is what the palette looks like. We have a lot of colors in here. So we have some very light champagne and cream shades in this first row. Then we have some browns, some pinks. This one looks like a purple, but it's really more like a silver. We have some brownie warm tones. We have some oranges, again some more purples and pinks. And then we have some more browns again over here, and then we do have a black as well. So this palette is going to give us quite a bit of range. So I will pop up a photo of those swatches right now. So today we are going to be creating 3 different looks with this palette, and because I did receive this palette a little bit later than I meant to, we are going to be creating these 3 looks over a period of 3 days. So that's why I look different in those shots, but let's get into look number 1. So today I think I'm going to create something very neutral, very basic. I have already put down my Alter Ego eyeshadow base, and then I just set it down with the shade Be Kind right here, and I think I'll probably always do that to prep, so I might just skip that mention, but I am going to start with the shade Worthy. So this is like a beigey peach kind of shade. So this is just going to be a really nice transition for me. And like I said, even though today is going to be a very basic look, I will be doing looks with the purples, probably with those oranges too. We're obviously going to go into the pinky shades. I did actually wear this yesterday. I just created a base using the mattes, but I put down a shimmer from Pastel Roses on top, and I was obsessed with how it looked. But I'm excited today to just focus on this palette. I'm not sure if Tarte will be coming out with a new Man-Eater palette this year. I know the last 2 years they've come out with one for the fall. I'm not sure if they will this year, but I do kind of hope so because I do have a lot of fun picking those up, and I do love the Amazonian clay formula. Something I want to mention about this one is the Amazonian clay formula typically has a really distinct scent. It reminds me, I think it's supposed to be something vanilla, but it reminds me of chocolate for some reason. And I'm not getting that scent as strongly from this palette. Okay, so next I'm going to take the shade Unstoppable right here just to kind of deepen everything up. I'm just sort of working this one on that outer corner as well. I will bring it up into the crease. And so far, from my limited experience with the palette, I'm finding the mattes to be very easy to blend. They are very, very buildable. Now I'm going to take the shade In Bloom, this one right here, and I want to take that on a finger, and I do want to put this one all over the lid. This looks to be a really pretty rose gold. That is a really pretty shade. The shimmers do seem to feel a little bit dry to the touch. They're not as buttery as I typically like, but it is very sparkly and pretty. It's got kind of like a peachy pink shift. It's a really pretty shade. Just gonna blend around there with my crease brush. I am getting a lot of fallout with this as well. So this is probably one where I'm going to keep doing my eyes before the rest of my face. That is typically how I like to do my makeup, but I have been having really good luck lately working with palettes that don't require me to do my eyes first. So that's just something I want to mention. It's not a deal breaker, but it is something I want to mention. I think I might add the tiniest bit of Park Ave Princess to the outer corner, but you can see this is a lighter shade as well, so it's not going to add too much depth. It's just gonna kind of, yeah, I feel like that's just kind of pulling everything together because it's not much deeper than the original crease shade I went in with. So far I'm liking how that's turning out. I don't love the amount of fallout I got with that, but I am going to go into the shade Empower, this one right here, and I want to use this as my inner corner shade. Oh, that's far more metallic than I expected, but it's very pretty. And that is a shimmer that feels very, very creamy. So this is what we're looking like so far. I will pop off camera, finish up the rest of my makeup, and come back to show you the final look number one. So I realized I didn't actually show you the final look, so I did take this footage from a video I filmed later that exact same day, and I really liked how this look turned out. All right, for look number two, I think I want to go into these more pinky tone shades. That's just kind of how I'm feeling today. I do already have mascara on because I already did my makeup once today, but in the spirit of pre-filming, I'm going to go into this shade up here. This is the shade Worthy. I did already put down my Alter Ego eyeshadow base, and I did set it with the shade Be Kind, which is that more cream colored shade in the palette. And this one is also very light, but it does have a little bit more of a slight peachy tone to it. And I'm definitely thinking we're going to go with the pink shades. I am having a lot of fun playing with this palette, sort of getting to know it and looking at the different color combinations I want to do. I have been having quite a bit of fun with that. So I do want to work with these pinky tones. I do wish there was a slightly deeper pink matte. I think I might go into Be Present. I'm just taking that on the same brush I used for my crease. I'm going to start sort of lightly placing this one in that outer corner. Purples are typically a little bit harder to formulate, so I do like to be very, very cautious. I feel like most brands have it figured out by now, but at the same time, I do like to be a little bit cautious because I don't know if I'm going to get heavy, heavy pigment or if I'm going to get patchiness or if it's going to be beautiful. This one is definitely appearing to be a little bit more sheer buildable, which I'm okay with. Okay, this purple's actually quite nice. It's working out quite well for what I wanted it for. I think I do want to grab a slightly denser brush though and go in on that outer corner now that I've kind of got the foundation built for what I want. I'm just gonna add some pigment here. Nothing too intense, but I think I've mentioned this before, but I actually do enjoy doing my eyeshadow with mascara. Like, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to see, but at the same time it does catch fallout and it does give you a better idea of what the final look is gonna look like. So I don't mind. Same thing on this side. Actually, I'm gonna go in with that crease brush first so I can build the foundation the same way I did the first time. I really have been enjoying this palette though. It actually has quite a bit of range to it and I've really been enjoying that. Alright, so I have my base down and I'm going to go into the shade Positivity. Pick that up on a finger. It feels very creamy to the touch. It looks very metallic and reflective. Okay. Getting a little bit of fallout here. It's very, very creamy. I like that I paired it with that purple. That's kind of a nice little combo. I'm just grabbing a brush for a little more precision and just grabbing the littlest bit of the shade Energy. I'm just going to use that to sort of bring that light pink into the purple a little bit better. Okay, I like how that turned out. So same thing on this side. I will say I did get some fallout with this pink, but that was to be expected. But I wasn't expecting how foiled and reflective this is. The shimmers in here are really nice, I have to say. I don't know if you can hear that, but it just started pouring rain all of a sudden. And I feel kind of bad because I literally just heard my husband talk outside and then I can hear the rain. So he got wet for sure. I'm sure he's fine, but I feel kind of bad. Okay. I'm adding the shade Empower to the inner corner, which is the same one that I did on the first look. But let me just fix up the mascara a little bit and then I'll come back to show you the finished look number 2. Alright, so here is the finished look number 2. I think it turned out really, really nice. I think this pink is so pretty. It's so metallic. It's really beautiful. And I really like the shade on the inner corner. I feel like that really pulled it together, and I am also quite glad I went with that purple matte for the outer corner and the crease as well. I think that really helped pull everything together, but overall I really like this look. So I will see you guys tomorrow for look number 3. Okay, so for the third and final look, I think I really want to do something with the purples in this palette. So today I want to start with Lights Camera Lashes. And I am going to use this one in my crease. That one purple shade has kind of just been calling to me from the very first time I opened the palette. So I figured, let's just use it today. So I am just doing my eyes first today because I have noticed the last few times I've played with this palette that there is definitely fallout. I have been really enjoying the formula in this palette as well. I still think they have changed their Amazonian clay formula a little bit just because I'm not getting that normal kind of vanilla scent that used to come with them, but I don't mind because the formula seems to be really performing in this palette so far. And I've been trying with purples, I've tried the pinks, I tried the neutral shades, and I feel like this is a pretty solid formula in this palette. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into Be Present right here with a slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to start working this one on the outer corner. I don't know, I might go in with another deeper shade, but so far I think this is what I want to do. Yeah, I like that. Okay, just because it has a little bit more brightness. I liked the more muted shade, but this one has a little bit more brightness, somewhat like the shade I want to use all over the lid. These mattes do blend together beautifully as well, so I don't feel like I'm doing a ton of work with these. I'm very impressed with this Tarte palette, and you really do get so much range from it. Okay, now I'm gonna go in to Tartelette. This one right here. And I want to pick this one up on a finger. Look how pretty that is. Yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, and then from there, I want to grab the tiniest little bit of Fearless on a brush because I just want to use it to sort of mesh that really bright purple into the outer corner. And I'm just using the littlest bit. Yeah, I like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. There's still so many things I want to do with this palette. I just think it's so pretty. All right, so that is what we're looking like so far. So let me pop off camera. I'll finish up the rest of my makeup and I'll be back to share my final thoughts. All right, so here is the finished look number 3, and I really like how this one came out as well. So far, I've been really enjoying every look I've created with this palette. I do think this is a beautiful, beautiful eyeshadow palette. Again, this is one I kind of got in a little bit late, so I wanted to take my time getting to know it and just creating different looks every day. So I feel like I created 3 pretty different looks that I'm pretty happy with. The first look obviously used this shade, which I thought was kind of copper, but ended up being a little bit more rose gold than anything. So it ended up being a little bit more pinky, but I did get to test out the neutral brown mattes, and those are beautiful. All of the mattes in this palette actually are quite beautiful. Day 2, we went into the more pinky tones, and I didn't really have a lot of pink mattes to work with, so I ended up using one of these purples with my pink look, and it turned out quite well. I was really pleased with it. And then this shade has been sort of catching my eye since the very first time I got this palette, so I knew I was going to have to create a look with it as well. I was also considering this orange up here. I mean, that's quite a prominent shade in the palette. I also don't mind warm tones just because my hair is a little warmer and warm tones do look nice with my blue eyes, but I feel like that one is even just a little bit too warm for my preferences. It's just orange, and I don't love that. So I decided to skip that. We do still have some really nice, more brownie neutral shades over here that are shimmers, and I will definitely play with those at some point, but for the purposes of this video, I really just wanted to play with as many of the colorful shades. It's not hard to get neutrals right, but it can be tricky to get these colorful shades right, particularly purples. So this is their Amazonian clay formula. This is a beautiful formula. I love their Amazonian clay formula. What I don't like is when they have this one other formula that they use, and it's not the best quality, but this is definitely their high quality shadows. These are great. Again, the shimmers, beautiful, reflective, shiny. The mattes work incredibly well together. They blended very easily. They blended together very well. And even the shimmers, again, they were just so easy and pretty to work with. And another thing I find is that sometimes when Tarte does these larger palettes, typically they do these around the fall. They have their Maneater Nightfall palette, and both were very well loved palettes. I only tried the Maneater Nightfall, but I did really like that one. The only thing that I'll say is that sometimes when they do these larger palettes, some of the shimmers are a little bit more on the chunky side, which I don't love. And I don't find that that has been the case with this palette. We do have some of these shimmers that are more metallic, and then some that are more just intensely shiny, and those are the ones that have some texture. And they are a little bit more foiled than the other ones, but they are not chunky. So I feel like that is an improvement in this Tarte palette as well. This to me reminds me very much of what I like to call a colorful palette for neutral lovers. I have an entire category of palettes that belong in that little realm, and I absolutely love finding palettes like that because I am a neutral lover, but sometimes, especially when I'm filming, I do like to step outside the box and create something different so I don't look the exact same every single time you watch my videos. So that's when I love to pull out these colorful palettes for neutral lovers. And what I mean by that is that they have a lot of neutral shades in them, so you can play it safe if you want to, but then the color choices they make are fun and colorful, but they're not so bold and over the top that you're gonna feel uncomfortable. So that's what I mean by that, but overall, I really like this palette. I think the quality is excellent. I can't wait to keep playing with it. I think it's gonna be a beautiful palette all year long. It's one of those that doesn't necessarily fit into any specific season. I think it's got enough light and bright colors that it fits well into spring and summer, but it also has some of these jewel tones that make it beautiful for fall. So I am really excited to have this palette. I think Tarte did a really nice job. I'm not surprised this palette is a really good one because it is celebrating 25 years, so I can see how they would want to make this one something special. So I do think they did fantastic work with this. I am very, very pleased with it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Are you picking this one up? Have you already? Just let me know all of your thoughts. I love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!